Alright guys, I'm going to start the review session with this example. It's not from the notes and it's not from the book, it's just one that I made up for you. If you notice on the right hand side of the screen, you have the B hack, but in two different configurations. The one I've been using in class is this one right here, the one that's closest to the edge on the right. But then I thought maybe some of you might understand it better if, or you know, I guess get it better if we write it like this. It's basically the same thing. It's just one is vertical, one's horizontal. Notice in the one right here that's horizontal, underneath or above the B and the A is the multiplication, and then above the H and the K is the addition. Okay, same thing over here in the vertical one, where the multiplication is right here in front of the B and the A, and the addition is right here in front of the H and the K. So however you want to look at it is fine. It's the same thing. Okay. This is a square root function, and so the points that we use, our reference points, are 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2. Okay, and that's only for the square root function, not the cube root function. And then I left some spaces here for us to name the B, H, and the A and the K. So let's get started. We'll start off with identifying the B hack. So the B value, I look right here. This is 1 over B. So if this is 1 over B 2/5, then B is the reciprocal of that, which is 5/2. The H, I look right here. This is x plus 1, so that means that H is -1. Okay. The A value, that's the number in front of the square root of the radical, which all I see is a negative, so that means that A is -1. And then the K value, that's the number outside of the radical, added or subtracted to it, and so in this case it's -2. Okay? Excuse me. So what does this tell me? That the x is going to get multiplied by 5/2, so times 5/2, and the y's are going to get multiplied by -1. That's because B is 5/2 and A is -1. Okay, so this point, these 3 points get transformed. Well, anything times 0 is 0, so the first point pretty much stays the same. The second point becomes 5/2 because 1 times 5/2, and then 1 times -1 is -1. And then the third point, 5/2 times 4 is 20 over 2, which is 10. And then 2 times -1 is -2. Okay? So now we are going to apply the, the A and the, the H and the K. So we're going to apply these two things. And notice, for H and K we add, okay, we add the values to X and Y. So I'm going to add -1 to, it's messy, and I'm going to add -2. Okay, so the new points become -1 plus 0 is -1, and -2 plus 0 is -2. -1 plus 5/2. Now 5/2 is 2.5. So 2.5 minus 1 is 1.5. And then -2 minus 1 is -3. And then 10 minus 1 is 9. And then -2 minus -2 is -4. So these are the points in red are the ones that are going to be graphed. Now I didn't write it earlier, but it's in your notes several times. This is the one associated with the dot, and this is the one associated with the arrow. Okay, that might help you when you're graphing. So notice that the points are mostly positive, negative, except for the first one. So these points are going to be mostly in quadrant 4. So I need a lot of space on the right side because I have to go all the way to 9. And then as low as I really need to show on this graph is -4. So I may, let me draw the x-axis about here to give myself enough space. And then let me draw the y-axis closer to the left side so that I have enough room for 9. So 1, 2, I'm counting by ones every mark. And I'll do the same thing here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I kind of went, I mean, it doesn't matter if you leave it on here, but you don't have to keep all that x-axis. And this is the y-axis. Okay, so let me use red to plot the points. So -1, -1, -2. And then 1.5, -3. So approximately right here. And then 9, -4. So 9, -4. 1, 2, 3. I'm counting down. It's right here. So there you have the 3 points. We're going to connect them. So remember, this one right here is the dot. And this one right here is the arrow. So now connect the 3 points. Okay. And then domain and range, I know I didn't put it up in the instructions, but the domain, all x such that x is greater than or equal to -1. And you could write it in interval notation as -1, comma, infinity. And then the range is all y such that y is less than or equal to -2. Now those braces aren't coming out right. And so this one would be -infinity